Welcome to the classes of Shiksha Angan Senior. So again we will discuss a new course code, another one new unit and another one block like the previous classes, and I hope you all are good, you all are sound and fit enough and also enjoying the classes of this of my channel, and also enjoying and also cherishing my small initiative, my a little initiative for the IGNOU students, especially for the master student. And if you keep on supporting me, then I will present new and better content, more and more new content towards you, so that I can help you from my level best to pursue to qualify in a very uh, healthier way in the master's program, because each and every student gets confused about the course codes of the master's program and the way of reading, how they start studying each and every unit, how they proceed further, how they will prepare for the examination. So a complete guidance I will provide from my part, and I will try my level best. So just keep on watching the class videos, and stay connected with my channel, and also with my and also with the IGNOU books and IGNOU sites to get updates. uh, so if you stay connected, then the entire process will become easier for you. So without wasting time, we will start discussing a new unit from course code MES 056, Educational Technology Block 1 Unit 2. In the previous class, in the beginning, we discussed Block 1 Unit 1 from MES 056. The history, the concept of educational technology, the scope of educational technology, etc., etc. And in that unit, we also discussed about Bloom's taxonomy. So I want to inform you one more thing, that Bloom's taxonomy, and again a little bit of discussion about Bloom's taxonomy is also available in maybe MES 012 in another chapter. So there also I will discuss about Bloom's taxonomy, and I will show and I will discuss you in detail, and also show some uh, picture and some flashcards, and also that the concept can become clearer to you about Bloom's taxonomy. So let's move towards our new chapter, historical evolution of educational technology from mass introduction to personalized digital ecosystem. The architecture of learning. So in the previous chapter from MES 056 Unit 1 Block 1, we learned about the concept of educational technology. Now what is educational technology? What is education and what is technology? What is the scope of educational technology? How educational technology helps in development of education? How it benefits in the process of education? We discussed in the previous unit. Here in this new chapter, we will discuss about historical evolution of educational educational technology is a systemic convergence. This educational technology, the term which we are noticing, it is a systemic convergence. It is changing, not the term is changing, but it's the way of seeing this term, education technology. It's changing gradually. Its concept, it's or modification. You can also say modification. Modifications are also coming day by day. And development is also going gradually through various stages. First is media development. The evolution of carrying technologies from 1500 BC, chalkboards to broadcast television to cloud computing. Evolution of carrying out the technology starting from 1500 BC, starting from what? From where? Chalkboards. So in the previous century, so there that time technology was not available, that time that provision was not there. Educate technology, computer or laptop or electronic gadgets, so that time it was unbelievable. That time people can't believe that, and provision was also not there. So carrying technology started to carrying out from started from chalkboards, chalk and blackboards, etc., to broadcast television. After that it came a transition and moved towards television, where contents were broadcasted. Still now television is also there, and several educational channels are also there in television, where educational contents are broadcasted according to time and pace of the learners, to cloud computing, which is very common in today's scenario, in today's generation. Cloud computing has become a very common concept, because whatever data or whatever content is being created, to store that content in a very secure way, the help of cloud computing helps a lot. Then comes psychological theory. The progression of learning science from behaviorist stimulus response loop to humanistic group dynamics and modern constructivism. The time when learning science progressed from behaviorist theory, in the in course code maybe MAS 013, I have discussed little bit about behaviorist theory, that stimulus response connection, SR bond. I have discussed in that, so you will be able to relate that. So there, progression of learning science from behaviorist stimulus response loop towards stimulus response loops towards humanistic group dynamics, and modern constructivism. I have also discussed about constructivism, that in the constructivism what it was stated, that learner construct their experience through real life, or learner own construct their experiences by learning from environment and from their daily life experience, we discussed in a previous chapter. So this is the psychological theory. Now next comes systems design. Application of the engineering principles like need assessment, content analysis, and structural evaluation. This also helped a lot in the evolution of education and technology. Now, technology in education is not just about introduction of gadgets. Technology is not stagnant in introduction of gadget. It is also equally it is also equally significant in case of education also. And it is the continuous convergence of media, psychology and system design by reshaping the geometry of human learning. So this education technology, it is a continuous convergence of, it continuously converges to media, psychology and system design, which reshapes the geometry of human learning. The era, now we will discuss the era of structure and mass communication. So if you notice that mass communication, that communication mechanism or steps, that sender, receiver, decoder, encoder, etc., etc., several mediums, several steps were there. So here we will discuss about the era of structure and mass communication. First is pre-stipulated instructional objectives. Thorndike and Tyler. Pre-stipulated, first step comes pre-stipulated instructional objectives. And who is the propounder? Is propounded by Thorndike and Tyler. Second comes instructional procedures. It mass AV production or mass level of audio-visual production. Then comes evaluation. Criterion reference testing, CRT, NRT, you will also get to learn about that, but not here in the educational technology, but definitely in some another paper also, in some another course code, you will get to learn about this. Then in the last, then next comes the feedback loop. So in the earlier stages, EduTech, here edutech term is written in a short form, so don't get confused. Edutech viewed learning as a linear system. So in the earlier stages, the edutech, in the sense of edutech perspective, learning is viewed as a linear system, grounded in optimizing mass communication. It is grounded in optimizing the mass communication, and some also use of electronic equipments are also there, and to increasing the accuracy of teacher and student who used to learn passively, so that they can become active, to make them active in the learning process. This initiative was taken, or the system was designed in that way. Now next comes breaking the mold, the individualized shift. First is linear programming. Now linear programming is based on which theory? It is based on theory of B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning. So in the linear programming, content, whatever the content is created or is designed for the learner, it is presented in small chunk. It is presented in small stimulus, in a very smaller way, not in a larger, not in a bulk, or not in a very large uh, chunks. The content is not presented. The contents are presented in small chunks, in a small parts, not in a larger part. And there, active learner response, there was a requirement of active learner response and immediate reinforcement, immediate feedback. There was a provision of immediate feedback in linear programming. And what was the result? The result was single path was there, and self-paced mastery. Self-paced learner can learn self in itself. So self-paced mastery was there. Next comes Branching programming. Now, branching programming is the precursor to computer assisted learning. Here, in case of branching program, individual differences in learning styles are recognized, because each and every learner has they can possess their own style of learning. Each and every learner has some individual differences, so that individual differences are being recognized here. Then alternate pathways are based on students' choice. So here preference is also given on students' choices. And for correcting misconception, remedial loops were also there. If any mistake or if any misconception occurred during the time of learning, so there was an arrangement of remedial loops. And what was the result? The result was this system branching program adapts to the learner. It is adapted towards the adapts to the learner. In case of linear programming, what we saw that there was single path and self-paced mastery. But in case of branching program, the system adapts to the learner. Now next comes the Elton model, cumulative evolution. Now there is a chart that in there various years time frames are presented. So what it is said, 1940s. In 1940s, what was there? R&D, mass communication was there. 1950s, then development. 1960s, use. 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So when the time frame moved towards gradually how educational technology evolved and in what way it is presented. So this is being mentioned here. Research development used 1940s. In 1950s, individualized learning was there, and in 1960s, group learning, research development. So here from this graph we see that the evolution wasn't linear. It was not linear evolution. It was cumulative. Instruction in massive scale led the infrastructure in such a way in an individualized instruction which personalized the journey, and group learning supported, and group learning is supplied by the society, and it also supported a lot of support was also being provided. Now next comes the distance dynamics, Moore's transactional distance. Here what we see, first of drawing is given here. Structure in the first part, in the first hand we see structure. So in the structure what is said that there was rigidity of course design and learning resources were fixed and individualized instructional packages were there. And in case of dialogue, what we see that the interaction frequency between learner, instructor, learner, content, learner, interface and learner. So this is the learner autonomy which is being shown in the distance dynamics, Moore's transactional distance. So by joining this, so if we add this high structure and dialogue, so what we see, high structure plus low dialogue is equal to limited content negotiation. High structure and low dialogue. If there is addition of high, if these two are added, then what we get? We get limited content negotiation. So distance education is not defined by geographic miles but by pedagogical design. And true learning can only be achieved by striking the right balance between rigid instructional structure and dynamic structure. So if we keep a balance between this, then only true learning can be achieved. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to achieve the true learning. Okay. Next comes the 4 generations of scale. The 4 generations of scale. Just as we all know that about the four, yes, 4 or 5 generations. As we all know about the generations of computer, first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation. So in different generations, various different modifications were made in the computer system, in the computer languages, and several new softwares and hardware devices were also being included. So we all know, we all learned about these modifications in case of computer. But in case of education and technology also, there are 4 generations of scale. So first generation is starting with 1880s. Correspondence individual based approach by utilizing postal services and print media. So in the 1880s, in the time period of 1880s, the way of communication was correspondence, and individual based approach was used by utilizing, by taking support of postal services and print media, because that time mobile phone and social media, so leave it, social media was it can't be imagined that time in the time period of 1880s. Mobile phone and that email facility were not available. So to communicate with each other, postal service and print media were the only medium. So in the first generation, in the time of 1880s, as a medium of communication, these approaches were used. Now comes the second generation, 1960s. Multimedia and open universities. Parallel development of remote classroom integrating broadcast television and audio cassettes. Now in the 1960s, means in the second generation, there that time the multimedia and open universities were opened, and simultaneously side by side, parallel development of remote classroom. A development of remote classroom were also noticed, and broadcast television and audio cassettes were also being used. And that time cassette for to not cassette was used not only and in the previous stage cassettes was used for only listening to songs, but here in the phase of evolution of educational technology, cassettes were also used. And now in the present scenario, the cassette has almost became got lost. There is no use of cassettes, and CD, so to leave it, CD is also not being used. And previously CD were also used for downloading any sorts of document, or for copying any, to copy any sorts of file or folder in a CD. So that time provision were of CD was also available. But although it came later after cassette, CD also came. But now this both in the present scenario, neither CD nor cassettes, these two are not used in today's scenario. So in the second generation, we notice the parallel development of remote classroom by integrating broadcast television and audio cassettes. Now next comes 1980s, third generation. In third generation, their telecommunications were started. There was telecommunication was started to use. Group-based approaches were used by utilizing video conferencing and robust learning support system. Group-based approaches were followed by utilizing video conferencing and robust learner support system. Next come 1990s, fourth generation and beyond. Fourth generation and now and on beyond that, and now which generation which we are going through. Convergence. So here there is a convergence. Here internet era merges broadcasting and computing, creating autonomous online learning and setting the stage for modern blended learning. So here now the internet, the use of internet merges here, and broadcasting and computing was also being done by creating autonomous online learning and setting up the stage for modern blended learning. Here also the same thing is discussed here. 1990s and now which and the today's in present scenario which we are going to fourth generation and beyond, that it is a fact. You will also notice that today, after especially after the corona pandemic, learning has become completely uh, blended. Now learning is conducted in blended mode. The mode of learning became blended. It is conducted in both online and offline mode. So if anybody is unable to attend any institute uh, in offline mode, then the provision of online mode is also being provided to the learners so that they can complete their learning and so that they can get the opportunity to study. And several online courses were also introduced from government initiatives and from other initiatives that can also be done in an online mode, and exams are also taken in the online mode. So now in the present scenario, learning is not anymore a barrier for the learner. If they have the will, they can learn by following various medium and also the online medium also. Now here is a case study of India's edutech journey. First, in the 1961, Delhi School Television Program initiated. There was the initiation of Delhi School Television Program. Then next, in 1975, Satellite Instructional Television Experiment is the first interactive TV experiment by combining education with community development. In the 1984 class project were taken. Computer literacy and studies in school project, BBC microcomputers deployed to 2582 schools. Then next comes again in 1984 CWCR, UGC INSET countrywide classroom launches broadcast enrichment for undergraduate. This is the fact. UGC also launched several programs for undergraduate and postgraduate learners, and especially for some programs related, some vocational programs are also being launched, and internship programs are also there. so that student can learn and make themselves capable to earn in the near future. And now in the modern era, what we see, uh, NPTEL online, then NPTEL, NPTEL, then Doordarshan TV, then IGNOU, some channels were also there like eGyan Kosh, Swayam channel was also there, and several other channels were also there from IGNOU. And apart from that, an FM radio channel is also there from IGNOU, which is particularly being conducted by IGNOU, and in that channel only educational contents are presented there for the sake of learners, and that a learner can also learn from that channel according to their time and pace. So there is no then that is, and it's not mandatory that they have to uh, learn by physically attending the classes and all. They have to learn, they have to listen in a face-to-face mode. They can also listen, and they can also learn according to their time and pace, and wherever they stay, wherever they reside, they can also learn from anywhere in India and also from anywhere in world. So it is, so what we now, after noticing this EdTech journey, so what we see is a continuous effort for achieving economy of scale and equity through mass media. Now it is converging into multimodal blended model. Now next comes the paradigm shift from Web 1.0 versus Web 2.0. Web 1.0, the internet, which we came to know, that belongs to Web 1.0. The consumer, publishing, Britannica Online, then content management and personal websites, directories, taxonomy, and downloading, passive retrieval. So these were the facilities or these were the provisions which are available in Web 1.0. Now in the Web 2.0, now these systems are modified or upgraded in a better way. In Web 2.0, the prosumer, what we see, participation, Wikipedia, blogging and wikis, collaborative creation, tagging, folksonomy, uploading. So these were the upgradations which were brought in Web 2.0. So this semantic wave fundamentally changed the learner role. So learner's role were fundamentally changed by this semantic wave, and they are no longer just rely on using content, published content, but the prosumers. They became active participants in knowledge creation. Now next comes constructivism meets social technology. So as we discussed in a previous course code, that in the constructivist theory, that learner learns through their own experience, and learner, or not only through their own experience, they learn by keeping themselves connected with the environment. So what we see in the constructivism and how it meets the social technology, the environment. First point is environment. It is distributed, participatory, collaborative, open, and student centered. So environment is participatory. collaborative, open, distributed, and it is focused on students need, abilities, aptitude, etc. What are the tools used? Blogs, wikis, podcast, RSS feed, and open source software. Open source software. So here the spelling is written a bit wrong. So I'm writing the short form. Sorry. OSS, open source software. This is the short form of OSS, open source software. Sorry, open source software. So these are the tools which are being used for, to meet the social technology. What are the infrastructures are used? Communication over internet protocols, text plus voice plus video. Now several internet protocols are there, POP3, then IMAP and SMTP, etc., etc. Several internet protocols are there, which is accessible via cell phone, PDAs, and computer. Now, in constructivism, learning is no longer isolated to a single mind or a single classroom. It is absolutely negotiated, and here collaborative processes are taking place across distributed and open networking. Now, we will learn the learner-centric ecosystem. What are the learner-centric ecosystems are there? Personal web tools, PWTs. Here, Web 2.0 tools are used by learners for supporting lifelong learning. To support the lifelong learning, Web 2.0, the tools which are available in Web 2.0 that are being used by the learners. Then, Personal Learning Network, PLN. Some specific people, we connect with some specific people through social network. Through social networking site, we connect with specific people. Then personal learning environment. The widest context taking in experiences, RELIA, formal context and legacy media, TV, radio and paper. So in a ubiquitous cloud environment, as we discussed about cloud computing, cloud storage and all. So in a cloud environment, learning content is not at all, no longer is important as knowing where to connect in order to find it. The learner curates their own 24/7 ecosystem. So in this cloud environment, in the environment of cloud computing and all this, so learning of the content is not at all important as knowing where or who or from how to connect. It is just to connect in order to find it. In order to find it, it is not important to learn content. And for this, what the learners do, learners curates their own 24/7 ecosystem. They curate their ecosystem on their own. So so there is no need of giving extra effort, extra time and all this. So learner automatically curate their own ecosystem. Future horizons, blurring the boundaries cloud. Now we will discuss this. Ubiquity over location. A shift from bounded school pedagogy to a network curriculum which seamlessly connects the community, the home and the workplace. So is the shift which we notice from bounded school, from school pedagogy to a network curriculum, it seamlessly, it connects with the community, with the home and the workplace. Now comes cloud and analytics. What has been said, it is dynamic. It can change. It is changeable. 24/7 customized learning designs are powered by cloud computing and predictive learning analytics. So customized learning designs are available and it is powered by cloud computing and predictive learning analytics. Next, the open frontier. Mainstreaming of open educational resources under Creative Commons, requirement of new frameworks for authenticating resources and learning. So to authenticate resources and learning, there is a requirement of Creative Commons was also there, and also mainstreaming of open educational resources are also being done here. So here is the end of discussion of this unit from block 1, unit 2, MES 056, and unit 3 is left from block 1. So after discussing the unit 3 from MES 056, the block 1 will be completed, and simultaneously I will also keep on discussing other course code, and I have discussed block 1 unit 1 from each course code. Simultaneously other blocks will also be discussed, and from other blocks also each one unit will be discussed from there, and like this we will continue our classes, and we will meet in the next class with a new course code, with a new block and with a new unit. Till then, stay tuned, stay happy, stay blessed. Thank you.